good morning. Happy Saturday. What a blessing it is to be alive and breathing and waking up to another day. I am so grateful that we are here because I missed you guys last Saturday. If you're not from Florida, we had 2 hurricanes back to back. One of them, I was able to stay. I did not evacuate, but this last one, Hurricane Milton, I had to evacuate. So I was not able to connect with anyone during that time. So for this episode, I want to talk about finding peace in the storm. I am your host, B. Jules. I also go by Brandy. If you have not seen any of the other episodes, please go back in there, and so we can stay connected and you can know what this is about. So let's jump right in because I don't want to take up too much of your time. And so, it has been something, y'all. Like, it has not been easy. It just has not been easy for me, but a lot of us have had it worse off. So I am super content in where I'm at, but I want to talk about how I got through it and how I was able to still be a blessing to others who were in worse positions than me. So, navigating life after the hurricane. Today I want to share what I've learned from this experience, how I found peace in the midst of fear, and how God reminded me that He is enough, okay? And that I don't have to worry or be anxious. Though that sounds so easy, but when you're in it, it is totally different. But I also want to give you some practical tips on finding peace and staying grounded when life gets overwhelming and when storms come. The unexpected, the unknown. What do? How do we navigate through it? Okay, so I had to evacuate with me and my family during the storm, and I went to my family's house in Land O'Lakes. So I've been wanting to go see my family in Land O'Lakes. They are my father's side, not my mother's side, and my mother lives with me. So I haven't been able to take the trip out there, but now I needed to. And so we got out there. I left Tuesday morning. I was able to link up with a friend of mine, have some girl time prior to the storm coming. My family ended up out there Tuesday night. By Wednesday, the storm was to hit, and we lost power before the storm even came. So lucky for us, they had a generator, so we were able to keep like the food and cook. So there was certain essentials that were available, but they have a septic tank, and we were out without water. So that means no bathing, no showers. And so, yeah, that was a struggle. So it was baby wipes and just being like that, you know. Thank God it wasn't hot, so we weren't sweating, but it was still not my cup of tea. We ended up not having Wi-Fi, so we did not know what was going on right before it was even supposed to start. So that was a disconnect. So the fear came from the unknown of not having answers, but the peace came from being disconnected. No distractions, no phones, just nature, because they live in the country, family, and God. It was a reminder that when everything else fades away, He is still present. So the verse I want to share is Philippians 4:6-7 says, "Do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God, and the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus." The verse truly came alive for me during this time. I live in an apartment, so I don't have like a porch. I don't have a yard. But I still was able to get up early. I was able to just be outside on a porch and just soak in God, pray, hear the birds, see like the day before it was coming, like the wind. I could feel it. I could see nature knowing and being prepared in its own natural way that something was coming. After the storm, there was this sense of release in nature. There was some damage, but not crazy damage. But there was like, man, we survived. Like God gave us another name. We are survivors. Us as humans and nature. During the storm, it sounded like a beast. It sounded like an absolute monster outside. So, practical tip number 1, embracing disconnection. Sometimes we need to disconnect. Sometimes the noise, we've got to get away from it to find true peace. And if you're feeling overwhelmed, consider setting time aside to unplug. Whether it's turning off your phone or whether it's going for a walk in nature. It's in those quiet moments that you'll hear God's voice the clearest. So during that, when I had to be disconnected, I didn't really have a choice. Now, I could have sat there and been in worry or frustration. I could have kept in that, but I tried and I found where God was. Hi, Alicia. Thanks for joining. I chose, okay, God, if I can't know what's going on, if I have no way of communicating, if I have no way of bathing, if I have no way of eating, if I have no way of doing certain things that I'm used to doing, then where are you in this? And when I started searching for him, there was such a contentment and peace that came over me and over my children and over my family as I was praying, that it didn't allow the storm that was coming to be bigger than my God, because God is bigger than all names. Like he has put his son Jesus to be the name above all names. So he was above Helene, he was above Milton, he's above everything. And in that, I was able to just be in the present and kind of be back in the day, like when people didn't have all these outlets of sources. Like I had to go by my instinct, by nature's instincts, by the animal's instincts to know what do we do, what's happening, how is this coming about, not listening to outside sources. It was like we were in real time. So another verse that talks about embracing disconnection. Now, mind you, most of the time I want to disconnect, I plan it. But this one was unplanned, but I was still able to find God in the midst of the storm. And so Isaiah 26:3 says, "You will keep in perfect peace those whose minds are steadfast because they trust in you." Without distractions, I was reminded to trust him fully. Practical tip number 2 that I found out is find gratitude in the small things. Even in the hardest times, there's always something to be grateful for. During the storm, I had no water for the first 3 days, no power, but I had family, I had nature, and I had the ability to rest. We told stories. We were able to play board games. We were able to catch up with one another and how life has been taking us in different ways. We were able to eat. May not have been a 4-course meal, but we were able to eat. We were able to have like drinking water because of the generators. We were able to go outside. We were able to breathe. able to wake up, able to have a place to sleep, a safe foundation. It was in the little things, the laughter, the smiles, the being able to wake up and see like the sun rising, the sun going down, the birds chirping, like knowing that I'm safe, knowing that I have, though my electronics weren't working, that God was still there, that my family was still there. So it was the little things that we on a daily basis, because we get so busy, we can forget, or we don't tend to. So gratitude shifts your perspective. Like I brought my gratitude journal and I was able to journal. I was able to give gratitude to God and just be like, okay, God, you know, you are already in my tomorrow. You are already here before we got here. So you already know what it is. And if there is damage, if there is loss, you already have paved out the way for how this is going to work out for me. Because I did not know if I could even get back home. I did not know if I had damage at my home. It was all unknown at that point in time. So 1 Thessalonians 5:18 reminds us that God give thanks in all circumstances. So I had to find what I could give thanks for. Like my friend was watching my dogs because I couldn't bring my dogs to my family's house. Like I was thankful, and she was only 10 minutes from my family's house. So it was like I was so thankful that I had her, that I could lean on her, that I had someone I was able to lean on. Which brings me to practical tip part 3, lean into community. Don't isolate yourself in times of trouble. We are blessed to have family around us, and it was a simple act of storytelling and being present with one another that brought comfort. And as I mentioned, my friend, like being able to reach out to her. I normally don't have to ask much of people, but I did not hesitate to reach out to her like Monday morning, like, hey, this storm is starting to evolve. I may need to evacuate. Would you be able to either house me, house my dogs? Like, what are you able to help me at all? Because the worst case scenario was I would have had to leave my dogs in the bathroom with food and water, with pee pads, while I evacuated my family. And I did not want to have to do that. But God made a way because I reached out and I asked for help. And when the storm was over, I was able to go to my church and give back to community. We had a hurricane relief event where we gave donations, we gave food, even animal like dog and cat food. We had service, though all the power in the church was not on. It was such a beautiful connection because I felt like without all of these extra things that we usually have at the church, we were so grounded with just bare minimum that I felt like God was more present. I know that may sound strange, but it was just so much more intimate. And we were able to have FEMA there. I was at the charging station to help people charge their electronics. So like, though I was still without power, and though I got safely back home, we were able to come home. I was able to take a shower. So I had water, but I had no power. So I was not able to cook. So it was like I had one or the other no matter where I went. But I was able to go back and give back to people because I know that there were people out there that suffered way more loss than me. And so the Bible tells us to carry each other's burdens. In Galatians 6:2, it says that is where true strength and healing comes from, is giving and receiving love and support. Practical tip number 4, center your thoughts on God's provision. When fear creeps in, remind yourself of God's promises. God will give you rest. God will supply all of your needs. God will work all things out for your good. God will strengthen you. God will not allow you to be separated from his love no matter what comes. Those are just a couple of his promises. So we have to hold fast as believers when fear starts creeping in, because I had fear. I'm sure you had fear. Like we all had some type of fear that was trying to get in us and try to disrupt our spirit. And that is when you have to ground yourself and just say, no, God did not give me a spirit of fear, but he gave me a spirit of power, love, and a sound mind. He did not give me a spirit of fear because he tells me that he will be with me, and these are his promises. And we have to keep saying that over and over. And I had to do that over and over and over to battle it. It was like a tug of war until he finally won that battle for me. If he's carried you this far, he won't leave you now. You know, you've got to pray, reflect on his word, let that guide you. This is what helped me to stay calm. And when everything else around me felt uncertain, I even went to the book of Job. I mean, that man suffered more than I could even bear to understand or imagine. And here I was with family, with food, with water. Yeah, I didn't have everything that I'm normally used to, but man, I had so much more than this man in his trial and suffering. And he never, like, what's the word I'm looking for? He never went against God. He never talked bad about God. He never walked away from God. Like, he didn't understand what was going on. He didn't understand why God, when he was living right, and neither did the people, his friends who were consulting with him, know why. And they were giving him all the wrong reasons, like, you must have sinned, you've done something wrong. But that's not necessarily why we endure suffering. It's not because we've sinned. Like, we live in a fallen world, and there's so much more to suffering than you've done wrong or you deserve this punishment or it's because of your sin. But looking at Job, when I felt myself getting incontent, especially without being able to take a shower, I had to remind myself, like, man, this man lost so much more than what I'm looking at, and he made it through. And so I can make it through because he serves the same God that I serve. And at the end of Job's life, God multiplied his wealth, brought his family back, gave him more than what he started with. So for me, I was like, well, I definitely want the end of Job. I know we don't necessarily want to go through what Job went through, but isn't it such as life? We have to go through trials. We have to go through testing. We have to go through tribulations. But on the other side of it, when you get out of it, man, there's something to be grateful for. There's something to look back and be like, man, I can now see why I had to go through that. So in conclusion, I want to tell you that peace is not the absence of a storm. Even Jesus, while he was here, knew this. I mean, he had feelings. He got angry. He cried. He wanted God to take the cup from him. But Jesus had to put his confidence in God, that God would see him through and that it would work out for his good. And that is how he walked through his life and what he had to get done. And so it's finding calm in the middle of it, and that peace only comes from God. So I hope these tips have helped you as much as they helped me during this time. And remember to embrace the quiet, find gratitude, lean into community, and always look to God's promises. Thank you for listening, and I pray that whatever storm you're facing, I know we all are in different places. Some of us are just now getting power. Some of us have lost our cars. Some of us have lost our homes or our items inside of our homes. We have lost a lot of things that were attached to us, that we built, that we worked for, and now we have to rebuild. But God is in the rebuilding. There is a lot of stories in the Bible of having to be rebuilt, how people have lost. But if God is enough, then we are enough. And he knows what you need to get back. He knows what your needs are. He knows where you're at. And come to him. Don't go away from him in these moments. I know that as humans, we tend to not want to go to God when we're angry, not want to go to him when we're overwhelmed, not want to go to him when we're doubting or fearful, but that is human. That is our human nature, and it's our flesh, but we are spirit that lives in a body that has a soul. And so we have to come to God and be honest, like cry out to God, like, why, God? Or I'm angry, God. Like, be honest with where you're at and tell him and ask him and be specific in your prayer and be specific and find maybe someone in the Bible who has gone through what you've gone through and look at what God did for them and how they made it through. And for me, Job was who I looked to and like, okay, this is what it is, and this is how he got through it. And so if there's anything I can do, if you want prayer, definitely please reach out to me, DM me, leave me a comment, please share. I hope that this is touch one heart, one mind, one body, one soul. I hope that it has helped you, and wherever you're at, and my heart goes out to you. My heart truly goes out to you, and I hope that you are in a better place than you were in the last few weeks. I know October has felt like an entire year. It's crazy. I am just getting back into routine myself, and I hope that you are in a better place than where you were, and that you will find his peace and strength to get through it. Until next time, stay strong and stay rooted in him. Bye.